Hello. Both the cats are in here, so they're probably going to freak out because I just closed the door. Yes, there goes Chip. Chip! Sorry. Okay, now we'll see about Floof, who is on the trunk under the desk here. And so this is video 100 of my weekly doll videos. And it's gonna be real disappointing because my time since last week has been mostly spent organizing the doll sale, which I did post about, and I put like that real quick notification video up. And thank you to everyone who has participated. You have helped me clear out a noticeable amount of stuff. I just have a small pile of boxes left, and if no one buys that, that's fine. I can just work it back in. Because I had an idea last night. See, when I look at my dolls, I like each and every individual doll that I own. Some of them I love, but when I look them all together in a mass like this, or to be honest, even when I see other people's doll rooms, no matter how well organized and immaculate they are, it's just, it gets a little overwhelming to me. At least right now. I know the mood comes and goes, but I had the idea last night of the shelf here and the far shelf putting like decorative open-topped boxes on those. Fabric covered cardboard. I've looked up the tutorials. They look like they'll be a little fiddly but not hard to do. And like have a big box for the to 18-inch dolls and the small box for like the 10-inch and under dolls, and then have other boxes for the Barbie-sized dolls. And I can just, most of the dolls I've taken off the shelves to store, I put in a couple boxes down here, and I've stripped everything off of them. So they're just nude dolls. And so if I want to do anything with them, I have to take them out of these boxes and open the boxes and shuffle through the boxes looking for the specific doll and get them dressed. I know, so hard. But I figured my idea with these boxes I put on this shelf and that shelf, I just put the dolls in as they are. And then I could have this in the middle for like a rotating display dolls. And maybe even make it a room box because it's kind of short, and like most Barbie-sized dolls can just barely stand up. I don't know if you can see there's like curvy in the back, that there's like about a 1/4 inch between the top of her head. A flat foot curvy. About a 1/4 inch between the top of her head and the bottom of the shelf. But maybe make that into a room box, at least make it into a place to display dolls. And just the idea that the dolls, the clutter will be hidden from view, but the dolls will be right there. All I have to do is pull out a box and reach in. I'm almost excited about this project. It'll probably be an enormous mess while I'm working in it, and who knows, once I get the dolls in there I might not like it at all. But for now, I think that's going to help with my idea of feeling overwhelmed. I still have all the dolls, still have them at hand, just not ganging up on me like this. And that's really pretty much all I have done with dolls last week, is think about how to get rid of them and how to corral them without getting rid of them. I did the New Orleans souvenir doll that Pesto sent that I opened last week. I did get her out of her New Orleans souvenir doll wear and get her into a Bratz dress. And then I had another Dress Me doll with this same head sculpt. This body is markedly different, especially on the legs. And this doll is strong. And this doll is actually physically connected onto a neck knob. Anyway, this one was just a generic Dress Me doll in a Doris craft brand package that someone sent me, and I'm sorry I can't remember who sent me this doll, but I know somebody sent me this doll. So I got those coordinated in Bratz clothes. What are you doing, Foof? Oh, you want out now too, or are you gonna sharpen her claws in that box? Nope, I'm gonna lay in the box. I have a big box lid that she's usually Chip's laying in it, but Floof sometimes will lay in it and sharpen her claws, but she is staring at the door. So I got pictures of these. I got pictures of a lot of dolls put up in the usual places, Flickr, Instagram, and stuff. And people have been asking me, who are these dolls? And it's like, really? They are just generic Dress Me dolls and souvenir dolls and craft dolls. They have similar names, all those names. Dress Me doll is the first name I ever encountered for them. And a lot of them, if you go back like from the 40s and 50s, they'd have the clothes are, how should I say this? The clothes are constructed simply, but there's so much of it that it looks elaborate. Like there might be a really full skirt with lace on it, and then the top is also made of lace wrapped around it, but it's like barely even hemmed. So they're impressive looking from a distance, but once you get up close, it's maybe not so impressive. But Dress Me dolls you can find a lot of, and like I said, they are craft dolls. And usually to get skin tones that aren't this, you would go to the souvenir dolls because they will be from places around the world. And so I have this nice pair. They're probably girlfriends. The only other doll thing I have done is I took the hair off of Darcy. I was going to, well, I was going to give her a wig, and none of the wigs I have fit her, that suited her. And then I thought maybe I'd do something really quick with yarn, but none of the yarn I had seemed to work. And so this is the state she's in. And my nose is running, excuse me, it's allergy season. My eyes are also very itchy and my head aches because of allergies. So my plans to give her quick hair didn't work. And a note about Darcy dolls. If you've looked at many vintage Darcys, Darcy CoverGirl by Kenner from like 1978, you will see they have these big green spots on their shoulders and on the inside of her elbows. That's because the pin that holds the arm to the shoulder joint is made out of brass. Brass oxidizes into verdigris. The green verdigris gets into the vinyl and migrates around, and then you have stains that cannot be removed because they're coming from inside the doll. Not every Darcy does that, and I don't know if it's a subject of the production of the doll. Maybe some were made with brass that was treated differently so it didn't deteriorate as much, or if it has to do with how the doll was stored, like maybe these were stored someplace damp and that caused it to not rust, oxidize. You know, rust is oxidized steel or iron, and verdigris is oxidized brass and copper. But this is the Dana CoverGirl, who I've had since she was new and I was a kid. And I don't know if it's a subject of, like I said, I don't know if it's something different about a manufacturer or the vinyl dyes causing it to hold the verdigris in check, or if it's just the fact that I've always had this doll in my life. She hasn't been in storage anywhere, especially not any place damp. So she has not turned green. I gave her, when I was little, I was vaguely aware of the fact that disco was over, so in about 1984, I tried to give her a new wave bobbed haircut. It didn't really work, but a few years ago I was finally able to use my knowledge of doll hairstyling to fix up the haircut that I gave her when I was like 9. So this is the doll I have had the longest. She's not my oldest doll. I have some dolls that are a lot older, but this is the doll I have owned the longest. The story was I'd gotten a red-haired Darcy. This was a blonde Darcy. I would not take the hair off of red-haired Darcy no matter how horrible it was, because red-haired Darcy turns out is kind of rare. But when I was little, I got a red-haired Darcy because my mom had red hair and most people in her family had red hair. So when mom's buying it for me, mom's like, her thought process was probably, it's a red-haired doll. I have never seen a red-haired doll in my life. Because she grew up poor, and so, yes, Barbie's friends had red hair in the 60s, but Mom really wasn't exposed to that. She said that they had one Barbie doll that she shared with her sister, who's like 5 years older. So anyway, so Mom got me the red-haired Darcy, and I was looking at the way she was posed in the box, and I was probably a little too young for Darcy dolls, technically. And it's like, well, it says she can do the splits, and I did this, and I ended up with the doll in one hand and the leg in the other hand. So Mom tried to repair, I remember she used green florist wire to like wire the leg back onto the body, and that didn't really work. So eventually she took the head off of that Darcy and put it on a Barbie body. And eventually it disappeared. I don't know what happened to that. I'm pretty fastidious with my dolls, but I don't know what happened to that Darcy. Maybe we just gave up on her and Mom quietly. Actually, whatever happened to her is probably what happened to my Kenner 12-inch Luke Skywalker. He just disappeared. I had 2 Leias. One Leia I had saved to get with my own allowance, and then one Leia, because I'd bought her myself, my parents weren't really paying attention, so they gave her to me for my birthday. So of course that meant I had a good Leia and an evil Leia. An evil Leia. Eventually it was easy to tell which one she was, because she's the one that the dogs and cats chewed on her finger, and it actually left her outside and she got mown over, so evil Leia wasn't in great shape. Anyway, so after we gave up on trying to keep red-haired Darcy as an actual doll, my parents, well, traveled far away to where they found the Darcy doll originally, because she was not anywhere near my hometown, small town, rural town, and nor in the county seat town. We had to go to, I want to say it wasn't even what's the normally nicer town, but like the even nicer town beyond that. But I was a kid, so I could be misremembering. And they took me to the Darcy doll display and let me pick out any doll I wanted. I could have had the blonde Darcy, I could have had the brunette Darcy, I could have had another redheaded Darcy, and I picked out Dana. Of course, now I have no idea if Erica was there, because when I was a kid, what did I know about what dolls were going to be collectible, 30, 40 years in the future. But so... And Dana had some cats chewing on her hands over her life. I've tried to boil that out and it didn't work. But, so I've had Dana probably 39, 40 years now. So this is the doll I've had the longest. And when I got a little older, I used her with my Gem dolls, because the bodies are close. A lot of people will tell you that Gem and CoverGirls have the same body. They did not. Because Hasbro would not own Kenner for like another 5 years when they made Gem, but there were a lot of heavily borrowed design cues used from the CoverGirls for the Gem dolls. I remember I pretended that she was a record producer for my Gem dolls, because I was probably a little too old to play with Gem, so I actually knew what record producers were. Anyway, I said this video would be disappointing and I've been rambling to try to make up for it. I have no idea if I will have anything better next week, because I want to get this room still organized. It is still a mess. Someone asked for a room tour. If you're interested, I could do a room tour. It wouldn't take long, but I could show you my airbrush space too, if you're interested in a room tour. And so I'd like to get the dolls in boxes, and hopefully, since this is what you see behind me now that I put the filing cabinet here, so more of an angle. I'm used to be sitting here for the videos, but since you can see this behind me, I might rotate the dolls. I don't know if that would provide interest or not, or just make my brain happier. Thanks for putting up with me for 100 videos and my rambling and my lack of doll stuff, but she might have hair by next week too. Or I might have gone off on a completely different tangent that I can't even imagine now. But I'll tell you about it next week. Thanks.